All right, we'll continue to talk about this, and some of the things that have been said here will definitely be discussed with our guests. Joining me on the show at this point in time is Ashwini Dubey, advocate on record, Supreme Court. Dr. C.B. Mishra, Director Principal of Prudence School, is also with us on the program. Mr. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS, also joins this debate. Ashwini, I'll begin with you. If you were listening attentively to what the deceased's father had to say, there's some very strong allegations that have come about from what the father is saying. Of course, one is that comment he made about St. Columbus being a missionary school and targeting or profiling students because of their background. And secondly, he also went on to say that when he went to the police station to register a complaint, the suicide note in itself was being negated and being dismissed as being a document which will not qualify in the courts. Can you shed some light on what you have heard? I'm still shaken and little taken aback with the conversation that I've just had with Mr. Pradeep Patil.
Vinit bhai, when any cognizable offense, that too of this nature, happens, then the statement made by the witnesses, that to the father, his friends, are taken prima facie to be true. So prima facie, this should have
been. The deceased left a letter, and the police said that how can we believe it?
And police, the role of the police in this case shows that they are completely negligent about the death of a child. This shows the lawlessness. This shows that how they are caring about the death of a child, 16-year-old child, and that too when father is saying that you record my statement, that's a bad day. I would not say that the country is running with the constitution. The police, when there was a duty bound to at the first instance, immediately should have taken, it's a cognizable offense, immediately should have taken cognizance of it and have reached to the police station. Because in criminal law, Vinit bhai, each and every second is important, because the destruction of evidence at every second in the criminal law there are chances of its destruction, and accused may destroy it. That is why the police should immediately take stock of it. But here, see the insensitive statement of the police officials of the jurisdictional police station, number one. Number two, Vinit bhai making a specific statement, a specific averment, saying that his school being the missionary school. Why can't be an investigation on these lines when the specific statement is being made? Third, Vinit bhai, the schools follow the protocol. Schools, this Right to Education Act says that no one should be discriminated. Even the Constitution says, international law says, international law article 28 subclause 2 of the UNCRC requires the state parties, schools to take all appropriate measures to ensure that school discipline is administered and none of the child is bullied. What is happening when classmates are saying that boy was being bullied by the teachers? At the first instance, the counselor, before whom the statement was made by the child itself, that I am being bullied, I am facing the discrimination, I am facing the targeted harassment, but the counselor completely neglected it. To Vinit bhai, it's not a minor issue, it's a very serious issue. When he reached to the principal, what principal said? Principal said, ऐसे होता रहता है, हम कैसे? That's also see the insensitive statement of the principal, that how they are caring about the children. You may understand what kind of nurturing they are getting. Third, law will take its own course. The BNS under section 108 offense has been registered. Whosoever would be found guilty, of course, shall be subject to the law of the land. But the question here is, if somebody has died by writing a letter, that should be taken at the first instance as a suicide letter. And the names mentioned in the suicide letter are the prima facie accused in this matter. But despite that, what kind of investigation? At the first instance, they should have been arrested. Then the second, the investigation should have been proceeded with. This is the law. There are senior IPS officer, Mr. Sahai also, he would also agree to it. But making this kind of a statement, Vinit bhai, shows that in national capital territory of Delhi, the police officials are least bothered about the death of a child. Third, Vinit bhai, the Constitution, Article 19(1) of the Constitution says, asks the states to take appropriate legislative, administrative, social, educational measures to protect the child from all forms of physical and international violence. Still that, Article 21 of our Constitution, which self protects the right to life and dignity, 21A provides that the state shall provide free compulsory education as well as schools shall nurture to the child. What nurturing is here when 10 days are left? Targeted harassment. Vinit bhai, I must say, There is a need to have a guidelines and specific. There are no specific guidelines. Guidelines which are in tune with the international standards that are not being followed. Over to you, Vinit.
Right, absolutely. Valid points there. Dr. Mishra, how are you looking at this case? This is obviously an extremely sensitive matter. It is also a matter which can break, the reputation that a particular school has had for decades now. Do you think there was a certain type of lapse which the teachers thought or the staff thought would never go out of control, and it did?
Definitely, and as per the father's statement and whatever the video I had watched, in that ground, I can say there is some lapse is there regarding the teacher's behavior also. One of the lapses is there. But one point we are supposed to check it out also, the mental harassment or mental psychological test we are supposed to take. And we have only the one counselor or the two counselors in the schools basically. So when we say to mental checkup or mental health checkup, that is one of the important part that is missing in the school structure. Mental stress regarding the examination policy, regarding the education system, we require, our system is basically believe in the marks, where our system is not coming out as per the national education policy. We are not supposed to focus on the marks, as the parent is also saying the same word. But the teacher and the parents, other parents is also supposed to take what steps next, and why we are sending the students. If the parent is saying going to the school, to the missionary schools, first of all, these missionary schools are not only the missionary schools, all the caste students are there. The statements, I am not accepting that statement, because the child has taken the admission not in the grade 10th class. Maybe he is an old student and his other friends are also saying the same thing. And they have a very good relation with the parents also, other parents also. That's why all the parents are came out for the protest also. It means something happen in the school which creates this understanding among the, you can see the counselor not taken serious. If the child is saying that I'm going to do these things, the counselor is supposed to take the serious statement and they are supposed to stop. As per the one of the video what I am watching, he says कि मैंने अपने दोस्त को सुना, वो काउंसलर के पास गया and he's saying कि मैडम मैं सुसाइड कर लूँगा. So that statement should be taken very seriously. The teacher are supposed to take this seriously, and they supposed to take कि उस child को not going to go home directly, and they call their parents also. Calling the parents is also one of the important part. Mental checkup, mental harassment is one of the mental stress is one of the main important part. The parents, society, and the school, both we all are one part basically. Blaming is a one another things,
Fair
but we
enough.
all are.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Let me also rope in Mr. Sanjay Sahai into this conversation. Mr. Sahai, the father was obviously, pained with the way the police was also insensitive towards this entire episode that, of course, no parent would want to see.
To start from the beginning, we are a part of a completely unsympathetic system, whether it's the police or it's the school administration. If a child openly declares that he has suicidogenic impulse, and at that particular point in time, the school management, the counselors, nobody reacts. I cannot fathom out whether these people are even human beings or not. Leave aside running a school, not running a school is concerned. And it is going on for how long? It is going on for around a year. And this boy has consistently complained as to what the issues are. It has been brought to the notice of literally anybody and everybody, inclusive of the principal of the school. I have studied in Delhi. I know the reputation of St. Columbus School very well. And I find it extremely, I am distraught, and I am finding it very difficult to believe that this is the nature of teachers which are there. And when we are talking of the mental health issue, I think first and foremost, the mental health of the teachers and the school management has to be tested, because they are not fit. If whatever is there in the public domain, I don't think they are fit to handle students. Mental health sensitization for every single individual who is handling a child on a regular basis, nearly on a 10-hour, 12-hour duration every single day. I think that sort of empathy is completely missing. Teachers are the same, the principal is the same, the headmistress is the same. And now finally when we are coming to the police, I think a suicide note, Mr. Ashwini Chaubey will bail me out. It is a dying declaration. It is an irrefutable evidence. And police has absolutely no role to play around with it, but to register a case and move ahead, and they don't have any discretion to arrest, at what time to arrest. They are duty bound to arrest. So broadly, that is one part of the story. And taking the story slightly further from Mr. Chaube, we have July 2025 Supreme Court judgment which recognizes mental health as a fundamental part of the right to life under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. That is where we stand. We have a mental health policy of 2014. Not only limited to that, we have a national suicide prevention strategy of 2022. Suffice to say that everything is in namesake. One side we see the bomb blast there, and one side we see this. There are any number of things where we find that the regulatory and the executive mechanism are literally on paper. That is precisely where we are. And every time we show a huge amount of surprise and we feign ignorance of whatever is happening in reality. Coming to the counselor part of it. The counselors were appointed so that they are objective, empirical, and they come to the assistance of the kids. It is not for maintaining a document, maintaining a register, or even maintaining some sort of a compliance mechanism. That 2 counselors will be employed by every school. This is precisely what is happening, and the counselor does not jump out of her chair, his chair. When the child says that he has a suicidal impulse and does not take the child to his home or gets the parents and remains with the child till the time the person is taken to a clinical psychologist for further treatment.
Fair enough,
I don't know
sir.
what sort of schools they are
All right,
running.
sir. That's the question. That's in fact the question that we have for today. What kind of a school was being run that it instead of instilling confidence and hope and education into a student, it made that student take his own life. We have run out of time, but appreciate everybody who joined in and weighed in this serious matter. We'll take a short break now. Be right back.